Cases will now likely be dismissed against 5 teens charged under Albany County's cyberbullying law. This after the State Court of Appeals ruled today that the law is too broad. Jennifer Luthy spoke with county leaders and legal experts today. She's here now with more on why the court struck this law down. Jen?
Well, Cody, this all started 4 years ago when a 15-year-old former Cohoes High School student created a Facebook page and posted pictures, derogatory comments, and sexual comments about his classmates on it. He was arrested and charged under what was then a brand new county cyberbullying law. But since then, he's argued that that law violated his freedom of speech.
In its decision, the court acknowledged, quote, the defendant's Facebook communications were repulsive and harmful to the subject of his rants and potentially created a risk of physical or emotional injury based on the private nature of the comments. But the court still sided with him, not necessarily with his argument of free speech, but saying, quote, although the First Amendment may not give the defendant the right to engage in these activities, the text of Albany County's law envelops far more than acts of cyberbullying against children by criminalizing a variety of constitutionally protected modes of expression. Translation, the law is too broad. As written, it applies to children and adults and all forms of communication.
The county was the first one to try and really prescribe this type of conduct. There are not state laws to this effect. There's not federal laws to this effect. They were taking their first shot at it. And it was a good first attempt. It obviously wasn't good enough. And now they seem to be in a position to go back and try again.
In the meantime, though, the charges against the defendant, as well as 4 Guilderland teens charged under the same law, will likely be dropped. The Guilderland students were arrested late last year after making a derogatory rap video about their classmates and then posting it on YouTube.
What this young man did in the city of Cohoes is above and beyond that. He was trying to inflict harm on these people, and that's what you have to address. The same thing in Guilderland. They were putting harm on that song that they put out. I mean, there's a difference. That's above and beyond.
And because of that, McCoy plans to rewrite the law to address minors specifically and get it approved as quickly as possible.
The court seems to acknowledge the fact that protecting children versus adults and that there's a legitimate interest there. They're more susceptible, and we want to prevent that type of harm from happening. So that may be one way to narrowly tailor it.
Now, McCoy said he's disappointed, but he hopes to get a new law passed and implemented within the next 3 months. The district attorney's office confirms that those 2 cases for a total of 5 teens were the only time that that law has been used since it was implemented in 2010.